On today's Primetime Local News, Health Canada sheds light on the hazards of vaping to high school students in Lloydminster.
The risks are, for vaping in particular, are to everybody who uses vaping devices, whether they're adults or children.
And a rough weekend for the Rustlers volleyball team. We've got the highlights.
We literally gave them the game, made crucial mistakes at key points in the game.
Plus, we go behind the scenes with a top K9 trainer.
Hey, I'm Eric Bay, and November is Family Violence Prevention Month, and we're going to be talking a little bit today with the Lloydminster Interval Home about what they do have going on here throughout November, and including these silhouettes behind me that you will be seeing around town tonight throughout the show.
Prime Time Local News, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
And right here in our city, City Council officially approved the new remuneration policy setting forth a revision standard of pay the mayor and councillors following changes to the Income Tax Act. The primary goal of the revision policy is clarity for taxpayers moving forward.
More transparent to the public as to how much a councillor is actually getting versus budget and everything else.
It's also a more accurate reflection of the hours spent in council.
A better reflection of the duties within the base pay. We're making them part of the base pay and establishing the fact that the workload of being a councillor in the city of Lloydminster is going to include these GPC meetings and other meetings like that, where they will be included in your base pay and you're not having to file for those separately.
Council's next session is at 1:30 tomorrow afternoon with a number of public hearings for the proposed bylaw amendments. Lloydminster Comp, as they say, high school, will be hosting an event to educate students on the dangers of vaping. A recent study from Health Canada states that 23% of students from grade 7 to 12 have tried some sort of vape. With nicotine being an addictive chemical, experts are just as worried about the damage that can come to developing body.
The lungs may be more susceptible to damage from devices and inhalants, and that's not exclusive to vaping. That could be smoking, that could be other things. The lungs may be more sensitive at a younger age. So in that sense they would be, but the risks are, for vaping in particular, are to everybody who uses vaping devices, whether they're adults or children.
The rally will run tomorrow with interactive elements to help educate students on the hidden dangers of e-cigarettes. Well, it's time to exhale. Over the past few years, the topic of improving your breathing and different techniques has become more popular. Today's Rotary meetings featured a local woman who has been teaching people how to breathe.
Lean forward, exhale, belly button to spine back.
Guest speaker Amber Lamont was teaching Rotary members some of the techniques she's learned over the past year. She wants to teach certain breathing styles in order to help people improve the amount of oxygen they intake.
I like to help people become more aware that the horizontal breath, which is the lower diaphragmatic breathing, is more beneficial for them because it can help either calm people, help them athletically, help mental clarity.
She also informed Rotary members that the way you breathe starts being affected by age 5 when you first begin school.
When we start school, we end up having to sit. We don't get to move around as much. Also, the anxiety kind of rises a bit more in school, and a lot of people come along and they'll poke you in the belly, tell you to suck in, bad posture over time.
Amber says you can improve your breathing no matter how old you are. You can find more information on her Facebook page, Breathing with Amber. While dogs have abilities that humans simply don't, which makes them great assets to the RCMP. In this week's Retrospect, our Abby St. John takes a look at the Lloydminster Police Dog Service.
Out of the truck and ready to work. Drax, the 65-pound, 4-year-old purebred German Shepherd, knows he has a job to do.
You're gonna have to come and get me.
Flash forward to today, and the K9 unit is still active within the Lloydminster RCMP. The detachment currently has one dog on call in the city, something that is seen as a huge benefit to Lloydminster.
Lloydminster is a big enough city and it's busy enough that the dog is of huge value, and it's super valuable to have the dog within the city here. A lot of areas have to wait. There might be a dog handler that's an hour and a half or 2 hours away. Having a dog handler right in Lloydminster, I mean, usually my time delay is 10 minutes. So I'm on call 24/7. So if the members need me here, I'm a phone call away, I'm 10 minutes away.
The police dog services role within the RCMP is to support the general duty and any other section within the RCMP. Police dogs are trained in a variety of fields like tracking missing persons, narcotics, and explosives. They can also track anything with a human scent and anything to do with firearms.
They're a super useful tool. Their capabilities are unbelievable, and they obviously have capabilities that we don't have as humans. Everything we ask them to do is instinctual, so the dog basically gets to do everything that they love to do naturally, and that's their life. And they absolutely love it.
In some situations, the mention of the K9 being present can resolve the situation before it could turn dangerous.
In situations where we have sometimes people that have committed a criminal code offense and they're barricaded, the mere presence of the dog sometimes will even change that person's behavior and convince them to peacefully surrender, so there's a peaceful outcome at the end.
To become a dog handler, it takes years of training. It starts with assisting another handler for about a year, then you spend about 5 to 7 years training puppies. Then, if you pass a competition, you can become a handler.
It's a long process. It has to be a passion. It has to be something you enjoy doing. It can't be a job, because when you do become a dog handler, some people like to say you take your work home. So when you finish at the end of the day, you don't just go put your feet up on the couch. You still have a living, breathing animal that you have to take care of.
For this week's Retrospect, I'm Abby St. John.
Don't wait until next fall to take charge of your future. Apply to Lakeland College today. For details or to apply, visit lakelandcollege.ca today.
When you hear about high lead levels in drinking water, your thoughts might turn to the crisis in Flint, Michigan. But a new investigation has found drinking water in some Canadian cities actually exceeds the dangerous levels seen in Flint, and people have been consuming it without knowing. The investigation, which includes journalists from the Associated Press, looked at drinking water in 11 different Canadian cities. The results show that 1/3 had lead levels that exceeded the national safety guideline of 5 parts per billion. Some of the worst water was found in places like Montreal, Regina, and Prince Rupert, BC. The data comes from more than 12,000 water tests conducted since 2014. And now we head out to Eric Bay, who was on location earlier today.
Back here with the Lloydminster Interval Home, and today we are going to be talking about Family Violence Prevention Month, and I'm joined now by Angela Rooks-Trotzik. So first off, can you tell us a little bit about the month and what is going on here?
Yeah, so November is Family Violence Prevention Month, which it is nationally, and it's actually in recognition of all of the people who have been impacted by family violence throughout our province and our country. And this month is a very busy month for things that we're doing in order to raise that awareness in the community about the issue of family violence.
And you mentioned raising that awareness, and you guys do have these cutouts here kind of in a few different locations around town. So can you explain a little bit about these cutouts?
Absolutely. These are called red silhouettes, and they represent someone or some groups of people that have been impacted by domestic violence. And these ones that we're showing here don't have the stories, the ones that you see around town do, but these ones represent a myth and a fact about domestic violence. And so what we're hoping is when these are out in the community, that people will read them and that they'll have a little bit more awareness drawn to them, in regard to domestic violence.
And you guys have been doing this campaign for a few years now, so I guess what's the response been like from the community as they've seen these around town?
Very positive and very curious as well. I mean, when people first see them, they're not really sure what they are, but the fact that they're life-size silhouettes and bright red, they draw in an audience. And so when people come close to them, the other ones that we have, the large metal ones, actually have a story of someone who's been impacted by domestic violence. And what they do is they enable conversation and questions, and that's how people increase their awareness and knowledge is by learning and asking questions and talking.
All right, thank you for this, and we are going to have some more from back here again, continuing with Family Violence Prevention Month. But before that, we're going to head back into the studio.
Taking a look at current temperatures, it is -5 here right now in Lloydminster. We've had a fairly cloudy day with very light flurries throughout today, with the wind coming in pretty low at 5 kilometers per hour coming in from the south-southeast, making it feel like around -7, so not too drastic, which is nice. Current temperatures across the region is 0 out in Red Deer, Rocky Mountain House in Edson, -5 in Cold Lake, 1 degrees in Edmonton, -1 in Whitecourt, -2 in Athabasca, and 3 out in Jasper. And on the Saskatchewan side, -9 in North Battleford, -7 in Saskatoon and in Meadow Lake, -8 in Prince Albert, and -12 in Melfort. Across the region overnight, fairly cloudy skies with a lot of regions having some chance of some snow, with Meadow Lake and Isla Cross being the coldest at -11 and -10 respectively, but most of the regions sitting below in single-digit temperatures for overnight, where most of the region will see some flurries overnight. Here in North Battleford, -9 overnight with mostly cloudy skies, and then tomorrow mix of sun and cloud with a chance of snow with a daytime high of -4, that wind speed picking up to 15 kilometers per hour coming in from the north. And then in Cold Lake overnight, they could see some possible flurries with a low of -8, and tomorrow a daytime high of -6 with again mostly cloudy skies and that bit chance of some snow, with the wind picking up significantly to 19 kilometers per hour. Here in Lloydminster overnight, -8 with a chance of some flurries, and then tomorrow of a mix of sun and cloud and the chance of some flurries with a daytime high of -6 and the wind picking up to 19 kilometers per hour coming in from the northwest, and a low of -8 tomorrow with a 56% chance of some flurries. And then on Wednesday, a high of -7 and a low of -14, and then on Thursday, a high of -2 and a low of -13 with a mostly cloudy skies. That wraps up your 3-day forecast. We'll have your 7-day forecast and more news coming up after the break.
Welcome back. Prairie Farm Groups have released results of their Seed Royal Survey, and they say producers do not support the 2 seed royalty models under consideration by Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada and the Canadian Food Inspection Agency. New models to collect royalties on saved seed include a trailing contract royalty, where producers would sign a contract stipulating a royalty is paid when farm saved is used. The other option is an endpoint royalty, in which a royalty is paid when delivering harvest grain from farm-saved seed. Todd Lewis, president of the Agriculture Producers Association of Saskatchewan, says what they've heard from the producers is that they are not in a position to absorb extra costs. Agriculture Canada and the CFIA held a series of public meetings last winter to gauge feedback on the proposals, but that process is now on hold. And now to your agriculture prices of the day.
We're a part of less than 5% of Canadian auto body shops and Lloydminster's only locations with certified collision care recognition at City Centre Auto Body.
Now to hit the courts for a little bit of volleyball action. Friday night saw the Lakeland Rustlers volleyball teams head into Edmonton and take on the Naydukes. The NAIT women's team had only lost 5 sets before this weekend's matchup, while the men hadn't lost any and sat atop of the ACAC. In Friday's matchup, the Rustlers women seemed to have their way with the Ukes, winning 3-1. Saturday night in the Lakeland gym, a bit of a different story.
Yeah, it was kind of a tale of two nights. We basically controlled the game the whole night. We had full control last night, and then tonight, just completely different.
And similar to the book A Tale of Two Cities, the Rustlers also have a tragic ending. Losing in 4 sets, head coach Austin Dyer says there weren't many positives to take from the game.
We literally gave them the game, made crucial mistakes at key points in the game. And so, you know, you're not going to win games if that's how you perform when the game's on the line or during all of the pressure situation and times.
One of the few bright sides, second-year outside hitter Janae Varga. Varga had 28 kills between the 2 days and is making strides forward.
Just today I played a little less afraid than usual, so I took a couple more chances and played a little bit smarter with my shots and stuff.
The men fell victim to the Ukes as well. Friday's game saw the Rustlers lose 3-1 and Saturday 3-2. Saturday's game saw improvements from the Lakeland squad, trading set wins back and forth before ultimately losing 16-14 in the final frame.
Tonight in that lull, we couldn't really find anything going, but then I don't know, when we got into the fifth set, it was pretty awesome, and we were able to turn that around and switch up the momentum.
One Lloydminster team who did find success this weekend was the Bobcats. In 2 games against the Drayton Valley Thunder, the Bobcats walked away with 3 out of 4 points. This includes their second win on the season, ending 4-2 coming Saturday. The Cats finally tied 60 minutes of good hockey together and got their first win on home ice since January 18th last season. We'll have more on that story later in the week. And now to our Eric Bay, who was on location earlier today.
Taking a look at our satellite radar map for today. Earlier today, we did see a bit of light flurries throughout the day. Nothing too bad that stuck on the ground, but as you can see throughout the day, a lot of snow is making its way in from the west, coming in from Edmonton, as it did make its way a little bit in the Lakeland region, like I said, in the Vegreville area, and we did see a light snowfall earlier today, but again, nothing that stuck. And sporadically out in Maidstone, North Battleford, and Macklin also did see a little bit of some snow earlier today. Now, taking a look at current temperatures, it is still -5 here in Lloydminster, -3 in Macklin, -9 in North Battleford and in Isla Cross, -8 in Green Lake, Meadow Lake, St. Walburg, -7 in Maidstone, and -6 in Pearceland. And on the Alberta side, -5 in Marwayne and in Cold Lake, -3 in Provost and Wainwright and Vegreville, 1 degrees out in Edmonton, -4 in St. Paul, Bonnyville, and in Lac La Biche. Now, tomorrow temperatures, we have a projected high of -6 here in Lloydminster, as well as in Cold Lake, Lac La Biche, Bonnyville, St. Paul, -5 in Edmonton, Vegreville, Vermilion, and Wainwright, and -4 in Provost, -3 in Macklin, -6 in Isla Cross, Green Lake, Pearceland, and St. Walburg, -5 in Maidstone and Meadow Lake, and -4 in North Battleford. Now, your school day forecast for tomorrow, -6 will be the temperature at 8 a.m. with a little chance that we could see some flurries from taking in from overnight into tomorrow morning. And then recess, -6 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud, where we'll see a little bit more sun than we did today, with a bit of cloud coverage moving in through there. And then lunchtime, again, -6 with mix of sun and cloud as well. So nothing will really change between recess and lunch. And then by the time school is out, it'll be -7, where it should be mostly sunny, and there may be a few clouds, but for the most part, it should be relatively clear.
And then your next 7 days, -7 is the high for Wednesday and -14 is the low. -2 with mostly cloudy skies is the high for Thursday with a low of -13. -4 is the daytime high on Friday with a mix of sun and cloud and a low of -8. There's a 60% chance of some snow on Saturday with a high of -10 and a low of -12. And then on Sunday, a high of -11 and a low of -18. And then to finish up your 7-day forecast on Monday, a high of -9 and a low of -17 will be your temperatures for that day, which will wrap up your 7-day forecast for right now. We'll have more news and the question of the day coming up.
And now we head out back out to Eric Bay, who's on location.
Once again, we are back here with the Lloydminster Interval Home, and today we have been taking a look at Family Violence Prevention Month, and I'm joined once again by Angela Rooks-Trotzig, and now we've talked a little bit about the campaign you guys have been putting on and will be putting on here throughout the month, but I guess, can you talk a little bit about the reason you guys are putting this on and have done this for the past few years?
Yeah, so the Interval Home's core function in the community is to intervene through prevention and intervention on domestic violence, and really we could use all the help that we can get. So ultimately, when more people understand the issue, then more people can help support the issue. So it's really important to the Interval Home to spread that awareness. And so it could be awareness as simple as learning the phone number to the Lloydminster Interval Home helpline or information line, or it could be actually engaging in more conversations on how to impact personally someone's life by who's impacted by domestic violence. But ultimately, we do this to raise awareness, because when people are aware and they understand what the issue is and understand how they can intervene, that's when we can make more of an impact and help decrease the impact of domestic violence in our community and in people's lives.
And now you guys have tons of stuff planned here for the rest of the month, so can you tell us a little bit about what people can expect here coming up?
Yeah, sure. So we have our Red Silhouette campaign that exists out in the community. So our life-size metal silhouettes will be located at the RCMP detachment and at the City Hall. So anytime people are in those buildings or driving down up and down Highway 16, they'll see them and be impacted by them. And then we also have our Breakfast with the Guys, which is a second annual event, and that's where we invite men in the community to come and have free breakfast and engage around the discussion around gender-based and family-based violence and how they can lend their voice to help decrease that impact in the community. So we're really excited to be hosting that tomorrow. And then we actually also have booked a month-long speaker series. So we have lots of speaking engagements throughout the month in local schools and businesses to talk about family violence, services offered, and how people can actually help.
All right, thank you for this, and we are going to have some more from back here with the Lloydminster Interval Home, but before that, we're going to head back into the studio.
Well, last night everybody set their clocks an hour back, so a lot of talk on the fact, well, did you get enough sleep and all that kind of stuff. But question of the day, we asked a lot of you on Facebook. A bill was introduced this week in BC to give the province the power to make daylight savings year-round. Now, the question was, how will this affect the rest of the provinces in Canada? And we got a lot of people chiming in. Yes. What did they say? Were they for it or against it?
I'm pretty sure all of the comments are for switching to year-round daylight savings. Someone said it will start a domino effect. I think one province after another will stop changing time. It'd be nice if all of Canada stayed on one time instead of falling back and springing ahead. And then hopefully everyone would follow suit. And so a lot of people are for the fact of just getting rid of it so we don't change our clocks ahead or back.
They just want one thing. They don't want to be doing it back and forth because it really affects your sleep,
yeah,
right?
And personally, I always forget when both days are. Like, I had no idea that it was, I was supposed to roll back the clocks today. So is it necessary? I don't really know.
You don't know, I know. It's one of those things for me too. I mean, today, this morning, same thing. I woke up and I thought it was like 8, let's just say, but it was really 9, right?
Yes,
so,
exactly.
Anyway, that's besides the point.
Yeah.
Now switching gears to the pet of the day. Obviously, if your pet is shown today, you get to be entered to win a gift certificate from the Pet Pad. Here are some of the cute ones that you guys have set for today.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the Pet Pad.